Hi, folks. This is session 2 of Rites of Weeping, a two-shot folk horror adventure for old school essentials. We're going to start right off where we last ended session 1. As a reminder to folks, this is part of the Open Hearth Gaming Calendar. So if folks are interested in playing in more games like this or learning more, feel free to check us out on the web, Open Hearth Gaming community. So, where we last left our band of adventurers, I recall that Lennart Turnip-Warden, you had stuck your you had a 10-foot pole that you had kind of prodded a dismembered pile of limbs with. They animated and began to pull the stick towards them. You let it go, so they've taken the pole and crunched it up. While they were doing that, you attempted to turn undead. It didn't work, but it did make them angry. And I think at this point, I'd like to go ahead and roll some initiative, or at least go into combat. Initiative is actually the second part of combat in this system. Um, Now, I know that not everyone has played this system before, or if they have, it has been a while. So I'm going to be pretty slow and methodical in the way that I describe how combat works. The sequence refreshes each round, and it always begins with asking the question of, is anybody going to either cast a spell or move during this combat round? And you actually declare that before you roll initiative. So, is anybody planning to cast a spell or move during this combat round?
Yeah, I'm gonna move away, I think. And I think I'm moving out of combat, if that's correct.
Yep, you're not in melee at
Or
this
out of
time.
melee.
So
Okay,
so
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 I'm good.
assuming that you win initiative, you'll be able to withdraw without any kinds of problems. Um, Now I want to say that let's see here. Um, Now, this is a question, actually, Brandon. I don't know if you can maybe help me with this. Do you have to declare where you're moving at the start of the round, or do you wait until it's your turn in initiative?
I think it's just that you are going to move. Yeah, whether you intend to cast a spell or move in melee.
Okay.
If you're moving out of melee, it looks like you don't have to declare it from what I'm seeing, which I was reading from the OSC
Yep, I've
sheet.
got the rules pulled up in front of me, but the page I'm on doesn't quite clarify. So, but the point is, you're going to be moving. Is anybody else planning on moving during this turn? Not for Nixell. I remember
I
Nixell, you
don't
were
think so.
kind of no to Nixell, no to Austin. Um, so as I recall, Nixell, you are kind of over on the side of the room where this stonework was hastily trying to carve out an extension of the room, and then it was abandoned partway through. You're kind of hanging out over there.
Yeah, I assume that I'm going to start this combat round about to make an interesting point about the the stonework here when I realize exactly what's going down.
That's perfectly fine. What about? I'll say that you may also declare Nixell what your retainer Torvin is going to do. Now he is also your torchbearer. Um, and so he has maybe a sword in one hand, torch in the other. Um,
I think we had him with a lantern as well, so he could put
you're
that
right,
lantern
lantern.
down
Yes, it is a lantern. I
and draw.
recall that.
I mean, yeah, I think he may want to. Putting the lantern down sounds like it could be just overrun by this shambling horror. So I think I'll ditch his shield in terms of his weaponry and just use the sword with the lantern.
Okay. And will you have him be kind of moving in anywhere in this combat? He's right now kind of at the doorway to the passage that you entered the room from. So he's not really approaching this creature yet.
Yeah, I mean, are we running? Is that our general intention as a group?
That's a good question. We should
We
probably
get to compare notes before
yeah
we declare.
decide half the team runs, half the team engages is not a good strategy. So what do you folks thinking you're gonna do?
Okay. So I don't personally, if I were there, I wouldn't want to fight it. My instinct would be to run. However, I think a thought should be if we want to explore those tunnels that you're looking at, Nixell, we probably don't want this thing following in the tunnels behind us.
Yeah, I mean the size of the thing means I'm kind of more worried about us getting stuck in a rough cave tunnel than in the normal corridors. So I'd be escaping through the corridors if I were escaping. Yeah. Plus, we know the way. We know it's not a dead end or anything like that.
Right. You've mapped out the non-cavernous part of the dungeon pretty well. It's really just 4 rooms. And then you have 2 tunnels kind of descending into a more cavernous area that you haven't explored in the room you're currently in and in the preparation shrine that had the butcher's block and the skull with the jaw open and all of that. That was in the last room you were in.
Yeah, so if we're escaping, we'll want to go back into the man-made areas. So I guess the question that this large lump of limbs is asking us is how badly do we want to explore the cave?
Well, tell you what, why don't we here's a link to the dice roller. Why don't we maybe see who's going first in initiative? I think it's okay to say that people are, if you don't have to declare where you're moving, then, well, I guess I'm just trying to think here. If you don't have to declare where you're moving, does it really matter if you know what you're doing before initiative is rolled? I guess it might if you are in melee and then are required to move because you said you were going to. Because at that point, you have to decide whether you're doing a fighting withdrawal or just retreating altogether. I will say the only person who really needs to know if they're moving or not is Nixell, or not Nixell, Lennart Turnip-Warden, because I'll just be willing to say it. You're the one that the limbs are going to be going for. Yeah, they weren't successfully turned, but it really makes them unhappy to have the attempt made. So it's not a big deal if Nixell and Oston know exactly where they're moving. You guys are not likely to be in melee with anything this coming around.
So I'd say, Brandon, like if you decide, I'll just follow suit.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Together. Yeah.
I was kind of thinking if we retreated up the stairs, maybe we could get at least not be down here, get some kind of advantage on it. See, does it follow us up the stairs? And if it does, figure something out to make the stairs more frustrating for it to go up. Whether that be like tipping a sarcophagus down it if we can get one in there, or something like that once we get farther up the stairs, if we can run faster than it.
Yeah, I recall someone has a lot of flasks of oil from last week.
Yeah, flask of oil on the stairs lighted on fire is, I feel like, a better spot to be in than an open room. Is my thought.
Okay.
All right. That works for me. So the way that we proceed from here is now that spells and movement have been declared, we roll initiative just for the round, not for the entire sequence of combat, but for just this round. And it's simply each side rolls 1d6, and whichever side wins goes first. And you do this at the beginning of every round. You re-roll initiative. So if someone would like to roll a d6, I'll roll one for the limbs. They got a 4. So if anyone can try to get a 4 plus, whoever would like to roll a d6, go out for it.
I'll roll. Go.
There you go. So you
6.
guys are going
Ooh.
first. That was a 6. So now the winning side acts. There are no morale rolls that need to be made here. And then movement happens. So everyone who was planning on moving now takes those move actions. I'm not too worried about if people said they were or weren't. I just kind of like to keep things going here. So if people would like to all kind of run for the stairs, then that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, are we able to get up the, like, how far are we able to get to the staircase, basically? Because we're running, we've only got like, or like a little bit up it.
Yeah, even let me see. I'm kind of looking at the map here. I would say that you are all at least able to make it to the mouth of the staircase. I will say that Nixell, you could probably even make it all the way up to the landing, if you wanted.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll be using my crossbow to give them covering fire, whatever the right term is for a crossbow. Cover.
Okay. Let me just see here then.
I think that'll mean I'll go last though because it's slow. Surrounded.
Yes. I think that it just means that you move last.
Okay.
Or actually, I think it means you make your attack last.
Like you run up to the landing, we move, the creature moves, and then it might attack, and then you can shoot it after.
Yeah.
Like you're loading the bolt as we're running up.
That's fine with me. Yeah. And if I'm not running this exactly rules as written, then well, I'll learn. So that works fine for me.
Angry comments below, you know.
Yeah, right.
Someone's doing something wrong on the internet.
So in that case, I'm comfortable with saying that Lennart, Torvin, and Austin, if you folks want to make a run for the stairs, I'll say that you're able to basically get onto them. And then Nixell, you're going to be essentially loading your crossbow kind of on the move, and you'll probably get there last. Does that sound correct to people?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So movement having been completed, is anyone going to now make a ranged attack? You do movement followed by missile attacks.
I mean, yeah, if we're opening fire and I didn't have to declare it, I'll shoot with my short bow.
Yep, yeah, you can move and attack. So you can fire away with the short bow. Is anybody else going to be making a missile attack?
Me, but I think I'll go after the limbs, yeah.
Yep, and that's perfectly fine. And let me see here. Obviously, Torvin really can't. Lennart, what about you? I don't suppose you have a ranged weapon.
I do not.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be Oston Misthill firing away with the short bow. So you're just going to roll a d6, and I think you get a plus 3, 1 for being a halfling and 2 for your dexterity.
Okay, so a d6 plus 3?
Or a d20 plus 3.
Okay, that makes sense.
A 9 is not going to do it.
Oof.
At least I'm pretty sure it won't. Oh my goodness. No, it won't. It won't. I was looking at the descending AC. So no, a 9 does not hit. I will say that you manage to fire the arrow into the mass of undead limbs, but they essentially just engulf and consume it, and you again hear the same snapping and popping of broken wood as you did hear whenever the 10-foot pole was poked. No one is making any spells or melee attacks. And so let me just see here if this thing is classified as slow. It doesn't look like it is. So I want to be clear here. Because you have the slow quality on your weapon, Nixell, I just want to double check and make sure here. Do you get this shot off during your it says that you act last in each combat round. And I guess that includes the other monster's turn is kind of the way I'm interpreting that. Does that sound right to folks who are familiar with the system?
Yeah, I mean, it says as if they had lost initiative, so yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay. All right. So in that case, we'll resolve your action, or at least your attack last. And then that means that it's over to the limbs. Now, the limbs themselves, you can tell they are slower than you. You have a movement speed of 30. Their movement speed is below 30. So if you want to simply outrun them, you can tell that that's possible as they begin to kind of shift and amble in the direction of Lennart specifically. I'm gonna look here and see if they're able to get to Lennart. I'll put it this way. I don't know that they're gonna get to Lennart if Lennart is not the first person in line on the stairs. Is there anyone who would like to say that I'm the first person in line on the stairs?
As
I
in
can,
the
I can, I
closest
can.
person. Go ahead.
Yeah, Brandon.
I can take that. I'm a slow old man.
Okay, that sounds fine.
I shouted, run up the thing, and everybody went, and then I'm like last up the stairs.
That's fine.
That's fine.
So Lennart, this festering mass of undead limbs is going to intercept you, and they will get to make an attack here. You have an armor class of what now?
15.
15. This mass of limbs attacks at a +3, and they get a 5. So you're able to nimbly dodge the grasping, groping arms that kind of reach at you as you kind of rush past it. This brings us over to Nixell. You may fire at will.
So what did you say? I'm rolling a d20, right? Plus
Yes.
nothing because my dex is
I think you have a
distinctly
plus
average.
For some reason, it's showing that you have a +1 for missile attacks. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Oh, well, actually, I forgot to mention, everyone here is within short range, so that gives you an additional +1 to your missile attacks. It wouldn't affect Oston Misthill's attack. He would have still missed. But yes, you do get an extra +1 because you're within a short range bracket on your missile weapons.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. 10 total.
That is also a miss. And I'm not going to require you to spend an entire round reloading. We can say you can fire round after round. But that will conclude the first round of combat. And then you pretty much just go back up to the top and start all over again. Before we do that, I want to clarify, Nixell, did you move to the staircase, or are you still in the rubble over on the east side of the room?
Oh yeah, I was moving to the staircase where we're evacuating that.
Okay, that's fine. So the next round begins. Is anybody going to cast a spell or move? I assume some movement might be happening.
I assume we're still moving off the stairway. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of this movement phase, you will definitely both have been able to move up the landing and up to the room at the top of it with no trouble.
So we're currently on a landing that turns, like a turning staircase landing, and then another staircase up that turns.
Yeah. If you're at the very bottom of the staircase, you look up to a landing, and then it turns to the right.
And we're on the landing. Okay.
You're either on the landing or on the stairs below, depending
Or
on where
close
you
to.
are in marching order. Yes. So everyone's going to be moving. I'm going to say that Torvin moved with you and is also on the staircase with you. And we'll say that Lennart, you're kind of at the bottom of the staircase with the creature kind of right next to you. So at this point, we need another initiative roll to see who goes first. The creature is going to roll and get a 5 this time. So we need a 5+.
You want to take that, Connor?
Yep, whoever would like to roll.
Yeah, let me. Oh, maybe swap out. Another 6.
Nice, another 6. So you folks are welcome to move as you want. I don't think there's any need for a morale check here. So folks can all move basically up the stairs. Is that what everyone's planning on doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's gonna be able to reach me if I do a full withdrawal, right? Because it's just gonna come up the stairs. Or do I think if I just like bolt it up the stairs, it will be a little behind me?
Yeah, so that's a good question. You have the option of doing a fighting withdrawal, which means you move backwards at half your movement rate, which for you would be 15 feet. Alternatively, you can turn and flee using a retreat move, moving your full movement rate. However, if you do that, you cannot attack this round, and your opponent will get a +2 bonus to all attacks against you. With that being said, if you do choose retreat and move your full movement rate, the limbs will not be able to catch up to you. You just won't be able to attack this round.
I will do a full retreat, shouting "Burn the beast!" And run as fast as I can.
Perfectly fine. So I'm willing to say that if everyone wants, everyone can run up to the top of the landing, turn the corner, go up to the top of the stairs, and find yourselves back in the room that you started in. This is the room with the hundreds of candles lit, with all the skulls in the niches that have the coins in their eyes, and of course you have the exit to the dungeon up the stairs on your left, and if you go straight ahead, that takes you down into the sarcophagus room. Well, sarcophagus where the full bodies are interred, if folks remember that. So folks have moved. Because you've all moved, and there is now kind of a corner that you'd have to go around in order to hit the monster. No one has a line of sight to it, so no one can really make any attacks here. However, I'm happy to say that on the monster's turn, it will move up the stairs, and at that point, people can kind of on their turn, whenever it does come back around to you, lay into it with oil if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you can choose how you want to proceed from here.
Okay, so I can throw a thing of oil on it. On the platform at the least, but the oil, it's not like a Molotov cocktail. It's not going to just ignite. We'll need to also apply fire somehow.
I'm just thinking, obviously, like throwing the flasks at it is probably tougher than throwing it on a floor. So if we like draw it up to that landing with the candles in it, and then like chuck 3 oil flasks at once, hopefully that will cause it some difficulty.
Yeah,
And,
I was
and you
thinking
have all
that
kinds of candles for fire source.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
if we even now threw the oil flasks on the landing where we know it's going to be, I guess the potential downside is if it wins initiative next round and comes past it, then it might not work.
I would kind of like, my thought is, I'm wondering if it will actually stop, like if it'll sense the fire and not move through it, because it seems like it's kind of blind sensing us. Um,
Yeah,
so
I think
I'm
there's definitely something going on with it, right? So I think it'd
just
be
throwing it.
throwing it while it's like passing through that room, maybe. I don't know
Y-
how fast it is, and
You think I should wait until it's actively on the platform?
yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's like
Okay.
it's a
I'm willing to
judgment
do
call, I
that.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it says when you're making a splash attack, you're always targeting a surface. So it won't necessarily be harder with him there. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
whether
I
we
guess
want to wait or
yeah, do whatever you think is going to work best, I guess.
I'm looking at the map here, and this really works out to your guys' advantage because if it doesn't win initiative, it's going to end its movement basically on the landing. Even if it does win initiative on the next round and gets to move extra, well, then it'll just end its movement at the top of the stairs. So either way, I'm saying that you guys are pretty well kind of out of range of it. Um, it's just a question of where it is whenever you finally throw the oil.
in that case, I'll wait till I see the white of its nails.
Awesome. Okay. So then let's just have one more initiative roll to determine kind of where this thing is whenever it gets around to you. Everyone's rolling high for initiative today. I have a 5,
There's a
and anyone can go ahead and roll.
Take it off then.
ignore the modifier.
Okay, oh, the 3.
4.
So, I mean, in this case, all that really happens is that it goes
Oh, that's
first
good.
and basically is able to crawl up the stairs all the way. So now it's kind of like emerging over the top of the stairs. You can see the claws and the hands kind of crawling over the very top step, and you can see this 3-foot tall shambling mound of limbs kind of shuffling up the stairs as it goes. But that's all it's able to do. And I assume I guess maybe I should have asked before if anyone is going to move during this round, which you certainly can. You can all throw an oil flask and then move too if you want, or you can just throw one if you want to see if that's enough to keep it at bay. But is it safe to say that everyone is moving, or does anyone want to stay put in this room during this encounter?
If we're throwing it at the top of the stairs, I mean, I don't want to be, on the like last step. So I'm not sure where I'm at in the room, but yeah, I'm not leaving the room.
Yeah, if it's getting up to us, I'll do like a fighting withdrawal to the candles so that I can throw a candle like after others throw the oil flasks.
Okay. Yep, and there's no need for you to even do a fighting withdrawal. You're outside of melee, so you can just move and do that if you so choose.
Is this if throwing it, is this a missile?
Yes, a burning oil flask is a missile attack. And
Okay.
unless you are within, unless you're pretty much right next to it, you're not considered close range. You pretty much have to just throw it. But you do need to at least make an attack.
Yeah. Okay. Do I do that now?
Yeah,
Did
let's
I
go ahead and decide who is going to throw an oil flask. Just Austin, or do multiple people want to throw on? You have kind of a limited supply of them, so I wasn't sure how many you wanted to spend here.
Is more going to do more in the short term,
Yes.
or is it okay?
Yeah, a burning oil flask does 1d8 damage, broken up over 2 rounds. You just kind of divide it in half, and then one round, half of it's dealt, the other round, the other half is dealt. But yes.
I don't have one on me because I gave it to the retainer to put in the
Yeah.
lantern. So I
Mhm.
think the only person who has them is uh Austin.
Okay. So I had 4, I gave 1 to you, so I have 3 left. Assuming we don't need them for lanterns later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
We also
Throw
have
3.
we have torches, so that we
Yeah.
could have the retainer throw the lantern and kind of shatter it on there, which might count as one.
True. We might save that, but that's a good idea.
Mm.
Well, I don't know what we'd be saving it for, but okay. So I mean, I'm tempted just to throw one and see the reaction, but I mean, I'm happy to throw two. I feel good at least keeping one on me. But I don't mind throwing two of my three or handing one to someone else. What I'm saying,
Yeah.
if someone wants an oil flask, you can have it.
Yeah, I think throwing a second might be good, just to like make sure one gets through. Maybe depending on the dice rolls, they haven't been great so far in our missile attacks.
Am I reading this right? It looks like it says, would it just be under splash weapon? Like, because if you're throwing it in an area, it says you have to hit an armor class 9, and then in brackets it says 10.
Yeah, 10 is the what you need to hit, because
Okay.
it's a ascending AC. But yeah, you just need to get a 10. And if you do get a 10, then you land right on the money. If not, then you land within 5 feet of it.
Yeah, okay. And I have a +3, so I just need to roll a 7 or higher.
Yeah, either way, you are almost certainly going to hit it. It's just a question of whether you're going to land right on or if you're going to light up an area next to it, but still within damage dealing range.
Although if I was ever to roll a natural one, it would be now.
No, feel free
Maybe
to
then,
go ahead if you'd like.
like Austin throws one and Nixell throws one, because I have a negative to dex.
Okay.
I shouldn't be
Yeah,
throwing things.
I'll throw one too. So yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say unless somebody wants to be only 10 feet away from it, that you're all throwing from up to 30 feet away. I'm not gonna worry about the exact numbers, and that puts you at medium range, so no extra bonus. So a +3 for Misthill and your normal. Good job, Misthill. You both hit. Fabulous. So both rolled 1d8 for your damage. A 5 for
5 for mine.
Nixell. And an 8 for Misthill. Okay, so that's 13 damage in total that's going to be dealt to it over the course of the next 2 rounds. Let's do one more round of initiative here. Is anybody going to move or cast a spell? No movement from anyone.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna continue. Uh, should we, if we were retreating farther, should we retreat to the like sarcophagus room, or just like up the up the other stairs? Probably the sarcophagus room. It gives us, because we're still in the dungeon. I don't know.
Yeah, I forget. Is a sarcophagus room a dead end?
It is not. The dungeon
Yeah.
forms basically a square, where from the is it really a sarcophagus room? Yeah, there's no sarcophagus, and there are burial niches in the wall. Yeah. But yeah, from the crypt with all the burial niches, you can move north to the preparation shrine, and from there you can continue north into the caverns or east into the room where you found the limbs in the first place.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with moving on the same level, kind of walking backwards, keeping line of sight, but not like letting it advance too much. Is my idea.
Whatever
I'm
you
happy to
choose
keep
to
a
do.
healthy distance till the flames die out at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to be far enough away that the flaming mass of hands and limbs can't reach me.
Sure.
Whilst being in the dungeon. So wherever I have to go for that.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I was just going to say, whatever you choose to do, you really are fairly safe, actually, because you're, again, faster than this thing. So you can just keep moving 30 feet and doing a ranged attack, and it will only be able to move 20 feet in response. The only reason why that could potentially screw you up is if it wins initiative on the next round and ends up moving 20 feet and then 20 more feet and attacking. But I'm sorry, Austin, were you going to say something?
No. I'm good with moving 30 feet and like just kind of backwards shooting or backwards walking and shooting.
Okay. So brings us back to the original question. Is anybody going to move this round? Is it everybody, or is anybody going to kind of stay behind and potentially enter a melee with it?
I think the kind of fighting withdrawal movement is probably good enough for now, right?
Yeah, I'll say that you folks are probably, at this point, you've sussed things out so that you're all about 30 feet away from it, just outside of one of its movement ranges. So you have that going for you. In that case, can I get one person? Brandon, I'll just name you. Can I get you to roll initiative for this round? Ooh, this time it's going first. But again, it just moves 20 feet up. Now it's 10 feet away from you as it goes over to the rest of your team. So now you're all within 10 feet of this thing. It is really a horror show. I mean, it is, again, this burning mass of limbs. It looks like something out of John Carpenter's The Thing. Just this body horror, burning, twitching mass of limbs and arms and feet and hands clawing its way towards you. And it is cooking. You can see as it comes towards you, there is this stench of, I mean, it was rotting flesh to begin with, but now it's burning rotting flesh. And it is visibly getting, I think, stripped of the sinew and flesh that was already loosely adhering to the bones. You can see that the mass is becoming less zombie-like and more skeletal as it claws its way towards you. You can see maybe a small trail of limbs that have finally cooked off and are being left behind. It's shrinking a little bit as it comes towards you. It has taken about 6.5 points of damage, and will take more on the next round. But now it's over to you folks. I guess I can roll morale for this thing, but it's undead, so it has a ridiculously high morale. I'll go ahead and roll for it anyway. Just on the off chance that I get boxcars. I don't. And then it comes to you guys. So movement time. Where would folks like to move?
The direction of the crypt, is that what we were thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay. So that means that you folks can just move 30 feet down the, it's about a 10-foot incline of stairs. So you kind of move back about 10 feet or about 30 feet. And now you're about 40 feet away from it. If anyone would like to, I'm willing to say that you have line of sight. I don't want to split hairs about whether or not that's the case. So if anyone wants to make a missile attack here, you're about 40 feet out, and you are welcome to if you choose.
Oh, I got a natural 20. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, there are no critical hits in I see Nixell, you got the 8, that does not hit. Yeah, and yes, a 20 does hit. There are no critical hits in this edition of D&D. I think that's something they added in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. But you still get to roll damage, Misthill.
It was a D6.
Yep,
No
just
modifiers.
Nope, just a D6. Wow. So with a 6, that puts you at 13 plus 6 is 19 damage in total. What this means is that you're going to watch as this thing gets just up to the top of the stairs descending into the crypt, before it just sort of decomposes and just loses all of its form and spreads out into this inanimate mess of corpse limbs, burning and smoldering and smoking at the top of the stairs, but it is dead a second time.
Just because I haven't used this dice roller before, I'm clicking the die, typing a modifier, and hitting roll. That's all we do, right?
Yep, that's all. If you
Okay.
want, you can add a witty name to the roll, like you typed in short bow.
My last 3 rolls were all the max number on the die, so I was like, "Am I doing this wrong?" Okay.
Yeah, no, that's just luck.
Like 826. I was like, oh wait, am I D6, D20? Am I typing it wrong? Okay.
No, it's the dice roller, and I've used this exact same dice roller and gotten, I think, like 1 in 300 odds of rolling very badly on it before, so it's just luck. So you guys are back in the crypt room. You have defeated the festering mass of limbs. Got very lucky, I will say. If that thing had successfully engaged any of you in melee, that could have been a very different outcome. But
Swallowed into the massive limbs and torn apart.
I will say it did have an engulf move, and it also I don't think this is telling you too much. I think it's obvious just looking at it. It also had a chance of inflicting disease on you. And escaping the engulf involved saving throws against paralysis. It was a whole issue if one of that thing got on top of you. So you did well. And that being said, you're back in the crypt room. You have 2 different cavernous pathways that you can choose to take, one from the Shrine of Preparation and another from the unfinished crypt where Nixell was looking at the stonework. If there are any places that you'd like to investigate further in the rooms you've already explored, you can do that too.
I don't have anything that I was thinking of exploring, but I was thinking of maybe coming from the hand horror, the limb horror room, because like maybe whoever put that limb horror there is not expecting someone to get past it, whereas the unguarded way, maybe they're like, there's going to be somebody right there. Although I'm a little worried that the massive amount of noise that we just made has alerted someone to our presence anyway.
Yeah, I think go back to that giant space and have a look around before we go into the caverns.
Oh, just to check as well. I don't have a pole, but I can kind of poke around with my war hammer. There didn't happen to be anything cool in the center of that burned massive limb.
Let me double check, but I don't think so. No, I'm not seeing. No, I'm not seeing that there's any treasure to be found in the what was once a massive undead limbs. No.
Worth a check.
Yeah.
Rings on the fingers. I don't know. Okay.
Exactly. No, it's worth checking. Exactly. That would be what you would find is one of them has a magic ring on its finger, but no, nothing like that I can see here. If you'd like, you can go back to the unfinished crypt where you found the massive limbs and spend 1 turn searching it. With the 4 of you spreading out, I'll say that would more or less cover it, but
I do have this detect construction tricks class feature, which I guess is like spot hidden doors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that can apply here. So, you would have a 2 in 6 chance of finding anything interesting. Everybody else, if they were looking for secret doors, would be kind of operating at a 1 in 6 chance. If you choose to do that, that would put you up to 4 turns that you have been in the dungeon, which comes out to 40 minutes. And just as a heads up to everyone, you have to take 1 turn to rest once per hour, or else you take penalties. So you might be coming up on a point where once having done this, you may consider whether you want to take your rest or maybe do 1 more turn worth of exploration before doing that.
I mean, I think that would be a good idea to like search that room and then take the opportunity to rest right after.
Approximately how long in game does that rest take?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. In these old school games, if it ever makes reference to a turn, that means 10 minutes.
Okay. The footprints we saw leading in here were pretty recent, so we definitely should be alert during our rest.
Yes, there are footprints going in and out of both cavern passages.
And at the time, those tracks were described as bipedal. Is
Yes,
there any chance that the shambling limbs could have walked bipedally, or is it obvious that that is a different thing?
it is very much a different thing.
Okay.
So I'm going to do some quick rolls here to see if you uncover anything of note in this room, giving Nixell the extra 2 and 6. And you're not discovering anything of note in the particular room. You are able to sort of turn over rocks, look at flagstones, examine the walls for um, secret doors, hidden alcoves, things along those lines. After 10 minutes, you don't really see a whole lot.
So yeah, maybe we have our cup of tea, our tea break, or whatever this short rest is before we head into the tunnels.
I don't hear any objections, so we'll say that you will spend 1 more turn resting. That puts you at about 5 turns that you've been in the dungeon. Your lantern is good for 4 hours, which is 24 turns. So you're still good on light for quite a while longer. And now you are refreshed and have a choice as to where you'd like to go from here. You have 1 cavernous descent from the unfinished crypt, or you can take the one going down from the Shrine of Preparation.
Any preference? Maybe the shrine, if it's completed. Maybe it leads somewhere more significant, but I don't know. It's kind of a 50-50 really in my mind.
I'm thinking probably they connect. So if they do, either one will get us there.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't have a hard preference either. Because I'm curious about both.
Well, whoever, would like to make the call, just one or the other.
So we got to vote for the shrine room. My vote is for the limb room. So that'll put it to Austin. I'm ultimately fine with either one. So, but you can flip a coin.
Okay. Which room are we in currently? I'm sorry, we're in the crypt. No, we're in the.
You're in the unfinished crypt where you first found the pile of limbs.
Okay, and then there was the cavern there, but then the shrine we were seeing, where was that in relation?
It is just due west of the unfinished crypt.
Okay,
And then to the north of both of those was a downward sloping cavernous passage.
That's right.
gotcha. Okay, I'm going to evens odds it. One, so that would be Nixell's on my left. So he said the shrine room. Shrine room. Most certainly. With confidence, I say.
So in that case, you will make your way to the shrine room, where again there was that sort of butcher's block with the flayed corpse and the skull jaw askew. You will go to the little stairway it's really more of just a cavernous slope that descends deeper into this mass of wet earth that you have already interred yourselves in. Um, it kind of twists and winds a little bit. Probably doesn't go much more than 20 feet down before you hit a landing, but it does twist and turn enough that there's no clear line of sight from the bottom of the passage to the top where the Shrine of Preparation is located. I would like to get a marching order from you, in particular who is going first, because that's the person who I'm going to describe the surroundings to.
Yeah, I'm happy to go first. And maybe with Torvin behind with the lantern. I think
That sounds fine.
that was our original marching order anyway, so I'm happy to stick with that.
And that makes sense because Nixell, out of everybody, you're the one with infravision. So while a lantern can extend light out 30 feet, you have infravision out to 60 feet, which will actually come in handy here. So you'll come down to the bottom of the staircase, and you find yourselves on a wet earthen landing. Let's see here. You'll actually hear something before you see much. As you get closer to this kind of wet earthen landing, you hear the lapping of water. And you step out onto basically a dark shore of sort of sand and shale rock. It's maybe 20 feet wide, 20 feet in, but it ultimately goes out to this underground lake surrounded by rough stone walls and a very high ceiling. Now, those of you without infravision would be able to see points of yellow light hanging in the darkness, and you would really just be looking out into blackness. I mean, the lantern is going to get you a little bit of light, but it's ultimately going to just show you that there are some cages suspended from the ceiling. You can't tell how many, but there are some cages suspended from the ceiling. Some of them are very small, barely big enough for a child. Others are very large. You could cram 3 adults in there. Some of them have a candle lit up at the very top of them. Some of them do not. But you're able to pinpoint about 3 points of light, 3 little candle lights, extending somewhere into the darkness, hanging over the surface of the lake. You hear also, in addition to the lapping of the water amidst the shore, you hear this sound of soft, hopeless sobbing coming from multiple persons. There is this sound of despairing, hopeless crying, weeping, echoing throughout the chamber. The water itself, you'd have to kind of get up to it to see how deep it is. But it seems like you'd have to swim it unless you had some kind of watercraft. And that's what you would see if you did not have infravision. Now, Nixell, I'm going to tell you a little bit more here. You can see in your sort of black and white dwarf vision, you're able to actually see the exact number of cages and which ones are occupied. And you can see 3 cages scattered across the surface of the lake, chains anchored to the ceiling. You can see 3 cages with prisoners inside. Now, you will also recall from your time spent in the village that 3 people have been taken over the last 3 nights. So you can guess who these people are. They're all huddled in their cages, cold, scared, sobbing, and giving off this palpable feeling of despair. On the right, you're able to see a second shore separated by about 10-15 feet of water. There is no watercraft on that particular shore, but you can see that that might be another point of entry to the lake. Most importantly, on the far shore, just at the far extent of your infravision, you can see a beach on the far side of the lake. And on this rocky beach you see a shrine surrounded by candles and mirrors, just like the candles and mirrors you've seen up to this point. You see an idol placed upon the top of this rocky shrine, which appears to be in the shape of, again, a robed woman, face sort of hidden behind a shroud with a mirror kind of covering it. One thing that is worth noting is that there are a few other people on that rocky far shore. You will all recall that you have been seeing murals and portrayals of a robed woman with a mirror for a face throughout the course of your time in this dungeon. Here you actually see a literal woman, face hidden behind a shroud, one arm outstretched in kind of a thin, trembling way towards the cages, the other clasping a book bound in something leathery to her breast. You see, Nixell, a key hanging from her neck. And you also see, I have to make a roll here. You also see what look to be 3 rotten undead husks, zombies essentially, worshipping at the idol's feet. They are begging on their knees, hands outstretched. There is one last thing that you see on the far shore, and that is a hunched, virulent, stinking humanoid creature, about the size of a man, although you cannot tell what race or gender this thing is or used to be. It too is kneeling at the idol, and you can hear an audible hissing whisper emerging from it. It does not appear to notice you just yet. I would describe it, if you are all familiar with Lord of the Rings, picture a Nazgul, but it's rotting. There is a rowboat on the far shore that something has taken to get there. So at this time, you have no watercraft available to you to make it to the far shore. Now, that was a lot of detail that I just threw at you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll provide some clarity.
So, I mean, I guess first of all, I'll, in a quiet whisper, maybe relate what I can see to my companions. And maybe we, while we're whispering a plan to each other, we like shut the lantern so that we're not obvious.
Yeah,
That makes
that's
sense.
probably smart.
Yeah, I think it's not like a bullseye, so I think we have to turn it off and be in total darkness.
You could smother it with something, just like put a cloth or something over it as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So David, just to clarify, like everything you described is on the far shore. There was this second shore, maybe that the second tunnel would get to, but there's no rowboat or anything like that there.
Exactly. The rowboat is at the far shore, where there are 3 undead rotting husks, the rotting Nazgul thing, and the woman with the robe, the shroud, the book, and the key.
So I have 2 thoughts. One of them completely involves another character, so you may dismiss that. My first thought is maybe we can, make a noise to draw whatever it is, this creature across in the rowboat, to defeat it, and then take that rowboat. And then the second thought is if our halfling feels up to a bit of thievery, maybe Austin can swim over and steal it from under the noses. I don't know.
Okay. Always up for thievery. Swimming. I'm freaked out by underwater things.
You're in the right line of work.
I don't like when I can't see below the surface of liquid.
Yeah, you would be swimming into total darkness because you have no infravision.
Like I can't even see. Well, they don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
any light sources on them, so I can't even see the direction really there.
Right.
Well,
You
there's
can
candles
swim
over there, right?
without problem. That is true. You would be swimming towards the candlelight.
Okay.
And you can swim. It is assumed that all characters know how to swim unless there's some obvious reason why you don't. You swim at half your normal movement rate. So there is no reason why you couldn't swim over there and try to quietly take the rowboat. I think there would be some rules involved for that. I mean, it is described specifically in the adventure module as a rocky shore. So it's not soft sand that the boat gently glides down. It's scraping off of gravel and likely to create some noise if you were to try to pull the rowboat down, but it is possible.
Okay. Two points. Lennart, do you have any more turn undead? I know you used it once.
Yeah, I can just do that.
You can just do that.
Yeah, it's not like a X times per day thing like in later
Aye.
editions of D&D. I think you can just do it as a combat action.
I assume I don't even think there's a range so long as I can see. Yeah, but I have to be able to see it. Obviously.
I wonder. Well, why would I be taking the boat?
I mean, are we thinking we want to go over there and destroy this cult in order to rid the village of this great evil?
I mean, did we decide that we didn't think that the other entrance was from the other side?
I think it is. Is that and it was that closer, David, or closer to any of the cages? Like none of the are any of the cages accessible from like the other shore?
No, you would have to you would have to be right up against the cages. You can't access them from the shore. And like I said, they are suspended from the ceiling. So you would almost need to be standing fully erect in a rowboat to reach up to the cage. You couldn't access it from the water surface. You were not close enough to grab up there.
It Yeah, I guess we'd be getting the rowboat because then we could. So the reason to get the rowboat would be so that we could get the people out, which seemed to be part of some magical spell that's happening, as a source of power or whatever. Because the hand's outstretched toward them. There's a book being read, and there might not be another way we can get there. My other crazy thought is, but they're probably going to notice this eventually either way, is to drag a sarcophagus down here if there's one that's like light enough for to get down here, because that can float if it's if it's a solid stone carved thing, and we could float it like a boat and get people that way, but it doesn't seem all that viable, as I'm saying it.
I apologize. I just want to clarify. We don't, do we or do we not think that the other entrance leads to where they are?
The other
No.
cavernous tunnel?
Yeah, like we don't think both cavernous tunnels that we decided between earlier lead down to different ends of this shore.
You would need to go and look.
Okay.
But there's
I
the
think
second beach, opposite the far beach, which,
In the direction of the other cavern? Or we're
yeah, I
just
mean,
thinking
that's the
there's,
assumption I'm making, but it's definitely an assumption.
because if we think it can go around, then I mean, if the sole reason of me getting the rowboat is to get over there, like we can get over there.
Actually, can I interrupt here?
Yeah.
Just for the fun of it, I just rolled for Nixell's underground construction tricks ability, and it actually worked. I'll just say that Nixell, you can tell that the other shore almost certainly leads directly to the unfinished crypt.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So
So
if we like, if I was gonna sneak over there, I would probably prefer to sneak down the stairs than try to sneak swim. Sneak swim sounds hard because there's always
I
splashing
think the
involved.
point is that we have to go through the water to get there.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm missing something vital then. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
There's
there's
like,
three beaches.
yeah, on
They're-
our side
they're-
of the lake, there's like two small beaches that are separate, that have separate entrances. And then on the far side, there's another beach.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I wasn't sure how that would work. Okay. And there's nothing that you can see with your dwarf vision on that other beach towards that other entrance. There's really nothing over there. Okay.
not on the shore next to you guys. Everything's happening across the lake.
Would we be remiss not to go check and see if there was a boat like 5 feet in where we couldn't see it? Because I feel real dumb if we did a whole plan and that was the case.
You mean like on either beach, just like sunken or
Right. Like, like
or
there's no
just
boat on
either
this beach, and there's probably not on the other beach, but technically, or like shore, but we technically haven't seen it. So it's possible.
Yeah, it's worth the check. Like you said, if we if we found out at the end of this really tough way around, we would be disgusted with ourselves. So yeah.
Yeah. And if not, we're in the same spot as far as I know. So I guess, David, we're gonna go back around and down the other staircase to check the second beach for sure.
Yeah, and it does take you down to a second beach just east of the one you were just on, and it's good that you're doing your due diligence, but there is not, in fact, another boat.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Okay, so I'm happy to try and do the sneaky thing because it's exciting. But do we have a failsafe? I need a
Well,
cord I can pull,
So I would say two things. I'll cover you with my crossbow. I'm sure it's going to hit something soon. And then the second thing is if they discover you or they spot you, you just swim back, and that's like Plan A, which was attract them to come after us and then
Yeah.
fight them off.
Can I get, okay, so hear me out. What if you covered me from one shore and I went from the other shore, kind of hugging that side of it? And then if it seems like they're becoming alerted to my presence, you could make noises on your shore, which would make them look left instead of right. You know what I mean?
Kind of distract them while you're
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
Do you mean like you're not even? I mean, you have to swim on some level, but do you mean kind of like hugging the wall as you kind of go around the lake as opposed to cutting straight to it?
Yeah. If I had played Thief, I could have climbed walls. Um,
You
yeah,
still
so
can climb walls, you just can't climb sheer walls.
gotcha. Yeah. So I would like to stay close to the wall. I mean, I can't see how big the cavern is, but I'm wanting to come from, if I'm the lady looking at the lake, I'm wanting to come from the right. And if they start to hear noises, if they start to be alerted or something, they can make noises on the other side of the shore, like the other shore that I
Yeah,
didn't go off of. She'll
yeah,
look left.
it's a good distraction to take the heat off you.
And then maybe I will then be able to continue to take the boat, or if they get in the boat, then I can just come back.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was saying, if we sent it, not to complicate this plan too much, but like if it reduces the chance of the sneaking working because people are going to have to roll. But like other than when you're getting the boat back, are you planning to like hop back in the boat and row, I guess, or swim it back? Because maybe if there were two people, like it wouldn't actually matter if they hurt. Like if you can get up there, yank the boat, get in the boat, and row away. Well, great, they know we're here, but they can't do anything about it because we have their boat.
Yeah. I think my thought was to push it into the water. If I can do it quietly, then try to row away. But I figured like worst case scenario, if I'm assuming a single person can row faster than a single person can swim. So yeah, so I mean that was kind of my idea, is like shove the boat into the water as quietly as possible, but if it makes noise, hop in it and just start rowing and ducking. And this is all assuming tentacles don't come out of the water.
Sure.
Yeah, that works. I wish we had a way for you to quickly make a light source because I can cast some spells. I can cast one of my spells very far, but only if I can see. But I don't have a solution.
I could borrow the lantern, maybe?
I doubt you're going to be able to keep it from getting waterlogged and swim effectively.
True. David, when you asked whether I was staying on the wall, does it look like I could reasonably go alongside the wall, kind of like hopping on stones or like jagged things coming out of the water? Or does it look like I'm going to have to submerge and swim?
You will need to be probably about halfway into the water. I think that the walls are rough enough that you could probably keep yourself afloat using kind of like handholds on the walls. You can kind of like do one of these to kind of get along. But there's no way to get out of this completely dry. You're gonna have to be in the water.
Okay. Well, I have a flint and steel and I have torches and a bottle of oil. So, I mean, in absolute dire situation, I can create a light source, but it just won't be subtle.
Yeah, the candles on the far side of the shore will be enough that you'll be able to sort of see once you're there. But there's going to be about 60 feet of just black where you'll turn to where you came from and see nothing, and turn to where you're going and just see dim candlelight. And all manner of God knows what creatures on the other side. It'll be pretty creepy.
Okay. I'm going to, let's see, is there anything I don't want to get wet? I'm going to pull out my 2 pints of wine and hand them to you guys and say, please protect these with your life.
Priorities.
I spent my last 2 gold on this.
You really did, actually, during character creation.
And then I guess, so I guess we're splitting up and I'm going to one shore and the other 3 are on the other shore.
Yeah. And then when I see that you're in the boat and coming back, we'll uncover the lantern so you've somewhere to aim for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, forethought. Okay. And the reason we're sending me is because in a dungeon, if I remain motionless, I have a 90% chance of successfully being unseen. So I guess the idea is hopefully I can freeze in place if I have to.
That's if you are in woods or undergrowth. In a dungeon, you have a 2 in 6 chance of hiding. But again, that is if you are just standing still with absolutely no cover. If you are halfway in the water or underwater or hiding behind the rowboat, that you can just treat as I'm hidden. So when it says you have a 2 in 6 chance of hiding, that is hiding specifically in shadows with no cover. I'm just hunkering up, standing still, and hoping no one sees me.
Okay. Yeah. Which is like a last resort thing, but
yeah.
Right.
I think my thought process was you were the closest thing we had to a thief. So
I should have been a thief. I wanted to be a halfling thief, but you can't. It's infuriating. Okay. All right. I'm down. I'm down.
Okay. In that case, I want to see if you are able to basically get in the water and navigate along the side of the wall using these handholds without slipping, splashing, drawing a whole lot of attention. So we're going to make a dexterity check
Oh, thank God.
just to see if you can get to the other side. Once you're there, we'll talk further. But in this game, it's very simple. You have a dexterity of 16. So you're going to roll 1d20, and you just want to get a 16 or less.
Okay. Yeah, this whole time I've been eyeing my 8 strength and been very nervous. Okay. Glad this is Dex. No modifiers?
No, well, no, you want to get a 16 or less. So that's
Oh, or
good.
less.
No, it's
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, because the higher your ability score, the higher the odds that you can roll under it.
That makes sense.
So, good thing you have a 16. You rolled a 15. Would you like to describe how you feel as you're edging along? I mean, this has got to take at least 10 minutes, close to that. I mean, it's probably just a turn of sitting there, you guys on your side of the shore watching as this little halfling slowly creeps along, maybe 1 foot at a time, trying not to disturb the water. I mean, what's this like for you? And especially for you, Austin, because you probably don't even notice the things on the other side of the shore until you're kind of right there. Like they're going to slowly come into your vision. They've been described to you by Nixell, but you only see them for the first time as you're pretty much right there. So could you describe what that's like for you, just because I'm curious?
Well, that is terrifying. While I can't see them, I'm very much eyeing the water because I again am freaked out by the water. I was freaked out on the boat here. Um, so I'm just kind of, yeah, but I think that while I'm nervous of the water, the actual danger hasn't sunk in because I'm just so focused on not falling. Like I'm literally just on like all my mind power is focused on being quiet and holding on. So it's like I can distract myself from any other thoughts other than just gonna get the boat, rock, foot,
Right.
hand, rock, foot, hand.
Yeah. And I think as you get there, I'm inclined to rule that it is highly unlikely that you are going to be able to get the boat off of the beach without making a lot of noise. I'm looking at the module here. It's specifically described as a rocky beach and a wood boat. Kind of, I'm treating it with the stats of a canoe. On a rocky beach, it's going to scrape and make a lot of noise. If you try to pull it, especially because it's one person with the strength of 8, so you're going to probably be straining and yanking, and I mean it's going to be tough for you to pull off. I'm willing to just rule that you can do it, but it's going to be about a 1 in 10 chance of doing it silently. Now that doesn't mean you can't do it. You can run it into the water, perhaps rather quick, but it'll make noise as you do it.
Yeah. And so I think I'm probably just gonna move quickly. I was thinking I could try to use my spear to like wedge it and like push and just get like make it go faster. Like pry it up off the rocks into the water, go over some of them. But I think actually just like you said, just probably trying to move it quietly, but as soon as I realize I'm not, just speeding up. But while I'm over here, can I hear them talking or whispering, or can I just kind of take in what they are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me double check here exactly. We have to scroll through this here because there is something very specific happening. Here we go. So the rotten undead husks are simply bowing in a full prostration, just face on the floor, arms outstretched in front of them, kneeling before this idol. The rotting Nazgul thing is kneeling before the idol, chanting a low hypnotic dirge in some awful language or dialect that you cannot understand. The woman who has the shroud, the veil over her face with her arm outstretched, has been kind of like twitching and shifting. You get the impression that she is in fact alive in some sense. But at the same time, it's utterly unnatural for her to just be kind of standing there quietly doing this. But you can't make out what exactly they're saying. Or perhaps better described, you can make it out, you just don't understand it.
I want that key. Okay. Then I'm going to maneuver my way over towards the boat and just assess the situation. As I see, it's like, oh crap, there's probably no way to get this off quietly. Maybe using my spear to kind of like wedge it off the rocks towards, I'm assuming it's like on some sort of an incline.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beach, so it's kind of a faint incline. And they really didn't bother pulling it up that far onto the shore. So what the heck, I'll even say it's a 2 in 10 chance that you can kind of pull it down into the water without making noise, but it's still not good.
Heck yeah. And then before I jump in and realize I don't have the keys, are there paddles?
Yeah, there are oars in the boat. It's got 2. Yeah.
Then I will attempt to do it quietly, ready to abort and just go as fast as I can if it were to fail.
Okay. So I would say roll 1d10 and you're trying to get, let's say, a 1 or a 2.
Why am I rolling so high?
Okay, that was a 9. So the good news is you're able to scrape the boat into the water. The bad news is that the thing that was kneeling at the idol is going to whip its head around, revealing this these horrendous yellow cat-like eyes from behind this cloak and hood that is kind of heaped up over its face. It whips its head around, these eyes open, and it's going to scream in this shrill, gushing, piercing, really more of a shriek. The sort of which that a human really can't easily emulate. Everyone in the dungeon is going to hear it, and it's loud as all hell, echoing off of the walls. I'm gonna say that you are able to run the boat into the water and dive in onto it. But it's going to be giving chase.
Does this thing run on all fours?
Well, it hasn't moved yet. It's just kind of whipped its head around and done a shriek. So I think this is where I'd like to check with Lennart and Nixell. You know, Nixell, you can see all of this play out with your infravision. Lennart, you hear it. What do you folks do?
I mean, I guess the plan was to unveil the lantern as we see Austin make his way back, and then, I mean, I'm inclined to take a pot shot at the first thing that moves towards Austin.
Yeah, might distract the big guy giving chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the big guy is the one giving chase. The rotting husks are stirring, but they are decidedly less intelligent than the rotten thing with yellow eyes. That thing is moving with a decisive intelligence about it, and is going to turn and rush towards the beach as this little halfling has just pulled the boat in and is leapt into it. I mean, it's actually not that different from the Buckleberry Ferry scene in Fellowship of the Ring. Come to think of it, it's really similar.
Is it on all fours?
Yeah, I mean, it's no, I'm gonna say that it's bipedal. I mean, this is.
Bipedal.
Yeah, it stands up, and I mean, it has kind of a hunching, shuffling, kind of loping movement to it as it runs, but it's not a gorilla. You know, it moves like something that at least one point was humanoid.
Okay, honestly, that's less scary to me than like a large lizard that swims. Um,
Right. No, it's got a cloak on, and it has, limbs that approximately meet the proportions of a human, in terms of
right.
length. So it's got a humanoid quality to it, even if that's about where it stops.
Given the jig is up, I'm just gonna start paddling as hard as I can and just let out like
Fabulous. Let's take our break here. It's 3 till the halfway point. Let's come back. Are folks okay with coming back at about the 35 mark, about 8 minutes? Fabulous. Okay, I'll see everyone here shortly. So at this point, I think we're gonna enter into combat rounds. I will say that it's apparent once this thing begins to move and turn. You can see that it moves at an alarmingly fast pace. It has distinctively sharpened claws where once there were hands. And you can see that even relative to the mass of undead limbs that you dispatched earlier, this is a remarkably dangerous thing that has shrieked and is coming toward you. Unkillable, not necessarily, but remarkably dangerous. So, bearing that in mind, is anyone going to move during this particular round? I suppose, Austin, you might. Nixell and Lennart, I take it you're staying put, right?
Yeah, staying put.
Is there anything that Torvin can do? I suppose he can man his short bow.
Yeah, right. He could put the lantern down.
Yeah. So we can have his short bow up and running. Okay. In that case, we're going to roll initiative. Austin, I feel like it's appropriate that you make this roll. So can I get you to roll a d6, and let's hope that you can beat a 3. Okay. A 5 works out very much in your favor because it means you're able to cast off the shore before it catches you. So, I'm using the stats for a canoe. And I'm seeing that a canoe has a movement rate of 60 feet when manned by just one rower. We've discussed already that the lake is exactly 60 feet. So you can basically just paddle like crazy to the other side of the shore. I'm not willing to say that you can do that and pick up a bow and fire a shot in one round, but you can basically get the canoe or the rowboat over to the other side of the shore on your turn. Other than that, I'm gonna go back to my combat.
The boat will just crash onto the rocky shore, and I'll just go, okay, what was part 2?
I did it. Okay, here we go. No need for a morale check. We've rolled initiative. Movement has occurred. Missile attacks can now happen. So you get no penalty, Nixell, because you have infravision. I'm inclined to give a -2 penalty to everybody else who's firing essentially into the dark. But no harm, no foul for at least trying. So if Nixell, Lennart, and Torvin would like to go ahead and cast your shots, we'll see what you're able to get to land.
Okay, I'll roll first.
And I've got nothing to shoot.
Okay, an 11.
Unless
That's
I
an
can
11.
like throw a rock.
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, Lennart, you don't have any ranged weaponry, so we'll
If it gets close enough, I'll pick up a rock and
have
throw
you
it
at the
at him.
ready. Yeah, a rock's not going to do much here. And a 13 also misses. So we know the thing's armor class is over 13. I don't think that anyone is going to do any spell casting or melee attacks, so that brings us over to the monster. It is going to crash into the water and begin not really swimming so much as gliding in a serpentine manner through the water, again at an alarmingly fast pace. I'll see if we get Lennart back. But he's going to just kind of glide through the water, and he's going to get about halfway to you, which is very, very fast. Faster than a normal human would be able to swim. But it only gets about halfway across. We will go back to the start of the second round. Is anyone going to cast any spells or move during this round?
Unless people are getting in the boat with me, I'm probably getting out.
Yeah, we'll say that you can get out of the boat and maybe grab your bow on the move if you would like to do that.
David, can you... Obviously, your description of this thing going across the water seems quite fast, but is it like just alarmingly fast for walking on water, or is it like just behind the canoe as Austin reaches the beach?
I will say that it's moving at about half the speed of the canoe. So he's able to outpace it. If it wins initiative, it will be able to make it to shore. But not quite into melee.
Okay. So I think another couple of shots might be wise.
Very good.
Do we want to trail this thing into the cavern, like into the tunnel?
Yeah, I don't know.
Full transparency, I'm trying to utilize caltrops.
Okay.
And that
Those slow it down, right?
I think it even says it has a chance to paralyze them if they step on it hard enough.
I'm stealing the stats for caltrops from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Those are in the group notes tab on the character keeper. But essentially, if it walks across a caltrop, it has to make a saving throw versus paralyzation. If it fails, it suffers a little bit of damage, although not very much. Its movement is then halved. And then it has to make a second saving throw, and if it fails that one, it actually can only move at 1/3 its normal movement rate for 24 hours. Now, if it succeeds on all the saving throws, then nothing happens, but it can be a disabling debuff for sure.
I think that's a good idea. Like scattering the caltrops on the shore and then retreating up the cavern, because
Yeah,
it probably is going to get chased.
Yeah, I'm
Lennart,
thinking
are
like the
there
opening.
yeah, sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, Lennart, are there any spells that could prove useful to you here? Well, Cure Light Wounds not yet, but you have Light, which you could also use to try to blind the thing if you were so
Yeah.
inclined.
I was thinking about that.
The problem is that prevents
whether
you from moving too.
yes, it does, and then I don't have it if I wanted to use it on that the spooky lady, stop her from reading her book. But I think the immediate danger of this horrifying creature will but I think let's go with the caltrops plan first, retreat, and then if it's still, and then once we're in a better position, I can cast that, because yeah. So that's what I'll do.
Okay. So what I'm hearing then is that the plan is for everyone to retreat, up the stairs, and Austin, you are also going to drop caltrops as you retreat. Is that sound right to folks?
Yeah, somewhere where it's like restricted movement, like at the opening or
At the entrance of the stairway, somewhere where it's going to have to run into them. Now you have I'm looking here. Do you have one bag of caltrops or two?
I think I only have one bag. I think I have enough for a 5-foot square, which
Okay.
is
Yeah, you
why I
can still
wanted to
cover
try.
that. I was just curious because if you drop extra bags, then it gives him an additional penalty to the saving throw. But if we want, we can just kind of hand wave this round because his action's going to be the same either way. During this round, he will be able to move up to the shore, and the lot of you can move 30 feet up the stairs and deploy your caltrops if you'd like to go that direction with it. No
Let's do it.
objections? Okay.
Yeah.
And that will give you, I'm looking at the map here, you'll be able to not just do that, but also probably get up the stairs to the very entrance of the Shrine of Preparation, where there was the butcher block and the flayed body and all of that. So that's what happens in this round. I'm not going to go through the step-by-step procedure. The four of you rush up the stairs. Austin, you leap out of the boat. I'm willing to say that you're able to drop your caltrops essentially on the move. And you're all able to essentially make it up to the top of the stairs. At this point, let's kind of proceed to the next round. You're all at the top of the stairs in the Shrine of Preparation. Are there any spells that people would like to cast here? And I'm just now realizing that movement doesn't matter unless you're in melee. It literally says that explicitly. I can't believe I'm just realizing that. So is anyone going to cast any spells this round?
Will it even with the caltrops, will it be visible to me to cast light?
Let's see. Even if it goes up and takes the debuff, yes, it would still make it to the top of the stairs.
Okay. And then if I cast light, that's gonna be me at the top of the stairs, kind of meeting it there, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's not ideal because if it just goes away anyway. So no, I'm gonna get farther away from the stairs so I can at least be like a little bit away from it and not the focus.
Okay. So in that case,
I want to go over to where that skull is. Like that's where I want to be in the room.
The one with
near
the jaw
that,
open.
the fancy skull. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. Let's roll initiative first to see who actually kind of makes their first move in this round. So Donna, if you've got the character or the dice roller open, let's see if you can match a 6.
Let me just blank the rest. No.
All right, so this thing is going to begin to rush up the stairs and it will walk over the caltrops. So I'm going to look at the procedure for that. It has to make a saving throw versus paralyzation. And let me look at its saving throws. Okay. So it has a 10. So I'm going to roll a d20. It needs to make a 10 plus. And it succeeds. So it does not suffer any effect from the caltrop. It is going to move up the stairs, and I'm going to essentially say that it's just going to attack one of you four at random. So I'm going to just basically roll a d4 and a 1, and just going kind of left to right across the character keeper. I rolled a 4, so it's going after Torben. And it is going to make... Yes, go ahead.
I'm just thinking because we're kind of, expecting to be in melee, are we all switching to our melee weapons?
I'll permit that if folks would like to.
I'm gonna do everything I can to keep my ranged weapon viable, especially
Yeah.
since
Maybe in a I don't know how wide we are. If we're like just past where it came through the caltrops, then maybe
how big is the
too
room?
many. Yeah.
The room itself is about 7 squares long by 4 squares tall. Each square being about 5 feet.
So 7 by 4. Okay.
Yep, about. Let's see here. It's probably for the best that this thing is going after Torvin, so it can demonstrate its combat prowess. As I said, this is a remarkably powerful creature. So it's going to get 2 claw attacks. And also it has an additional ability that he'll have to make a saving throw versus. But he'll get a couple of claw attacks, and he rolls at a +7. So the first one is a 14, the second is a 19. I think that means 1 hit. And it will deal D8 damage to Torvin. 7 damage dealt to Torvin with the claw attack. And I now need Torvin to make a save versus spells. If Donna, you would like to make that roll. Ooh, a 6 is not so good because I think you want to roll above your spell save. And Torvin has a saber spells of 16. Fighters do not get very good saves. So Torvin is going to take a -4 to attacks and armor class, but will be able to save again each round. And you see that as this thing essentially begins tearing into him, he is overwhelmed with some sort of emotion of despair and hopelessness that is going to severely damage his combat prowess and ability. And now that brings it over to the rest of you. No one's declaring any spells here. So at this point, you can move. If you don't want to move, then we go to missile attacks followed by melee attacks. So does anybody want to move here?
I'll move as far away, maybe towards the next opening. With
Yeah. Would you like to move closer to the unfinished crypt or up the stairs into the crypt with all the niches for bodies that's closer to the exit?
Excuse me. Exit? Does that sound? I'm thinking exit. Closer to the exit, anyways.
Okay. Yeah, I'm willing to say that you're able to move a good distance back. I mean, far enough. Let me see here, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, you can more or less move up to near the top of the stairs, and still you're short enough that you can still kind of fire down across the ceiling to aim for it that way. So you can make that move. Is anybody else moving?
Potentially, does it seem like a scary monster or an undead scary monster?
It is, I'll in the module it is listed as not undead. Even if it were undead, it is too powerful for you to turn.
Fair. Okay. And I don't know. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to hit it with my mace.
Okay. So you are moving into melee, and we'll resolve missile attacks first.
Oh, I thought we were
Nixell.
already in melee. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. I mean, it doesn't matter one way or the other. You're in melee with it. And Nixell, what about you? Are you going to do a missile attack or a melee attack?
No,
Or
I'm
run?
switching to. No, I'm gonna lay on.
Very well. So in that case, Misthill, you get your missile attack first, and you're rolling at a +4 because of your nearness to it.
Okay. A +4, you say?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, my melee is a -1, so okay. So I got a 16.
A 16 does hit. So higher than 13, 16 or lower for the armor class. So you get to roll damage now.
That's just 1d6. A 6.
Well done. So you hit it for 6 damage. And while that is impressive, you have a very long way to go before defeating it. It soaks the arrow up pretty well. And now this brings us over to melee attacks from Nixell, Lennart, and I suppose Torvin, although he is at a very serious disadvantage at this time. So everyone feel free to go ahead and roll, and we'll see what lands. Not great.
Not a great roll.
No.
You said Torvin was at -4, right?
Yeah.
So I'll do it just for completeness' sake, but
Yeah, he needs to roll very high. Yeah, not so great. So your blows essentially glance off of the thing. It's not so much that he's hard to hit, but it just seems to be very ill affected by them. And this brings us over to the next combat round. I believe, right? Yeah, because he rushed up into. Yeah. Is anyone going to do a melee move now that we have 4 people in melee, or cast any spells?
I'm going to cast a spell.
Okay. Nixell and Torvin, will you stay in melee, or are you going to do a move?
I guess we will stay in melee unless because Austin is going to be firing in from behind us, so we can't really back into him. So yeah, we'll stay in melee.
Okay. So let's get someone to roll initiative now. You have to beat a 1. All right. You folks get the advantage. Well done. So then, I'm not going to roll for morale. No one's moving. Austin, you get another missile attack.
Okay, I'm just rolling a normal missile attack. While I'm doing that, what is the potential using oil and flint and steel to create a flaming arrow? I got a 15.
Oh, you
For the
rolled
normal
a
arrow.
you rolled a 15. Flaming arrow, you would need to have I feel like it would take enough time to do that.
I feel like it would probably be at least a turn to prep an arrow like that.
Right. It would be. And a 15 actually does not hit. So this thing has an armor class of 16 for everyone's reference. So it's a fairly high armor class creature. Now, missile attacks having been resolved, Lennart, this is a real ace in the hole. You're going to be casting light. Can you describe how that works?
Yes, again. Trying out my holy symbol and praying for the rising of the sun. It needs to make a save versus spells as I attempt to cast light directly on its eyeballs.
Okay, it gets a save versus spells. Its save versus spells is 12. So it needs to make a 12 or higher. So it's about a coin toss. I will roll that now. And it fails.
So it's blind, and blinded creatures cannot attack.
And what is the duration of the blindness?
It is 12 turns.
Oh yeah, because
So
is it different because you are a
like
cleric as opposed to a magic user?
yeah, the cleric one that I'm looking at on the site, it's range 120 feet, duration 12 turns.
12
Which is
turns.
like 2 hours.
Exactly. So you have blinded it for the next 2 hours, which is
Yeah.
a big deal. It shrieks, and begins clawing, helplessly at its eyes, flailing about. People have to probably raise their weapons to accidentally avoid being struck in the kind of panic that it has entered into. Spells having been resolved, we go to melee attacks. Nixell and Torvin, you have a chance here.
So is it the same hit chances or?
Well, I come to think of it, I can see if there's a rule. I'll just do a quick Control F here to see if a blinded creature is easier to hit.
All I got from what I saw was unable to attack. It seems like it makes sense for there to be like a situational modifier, like to its AC,
Well,
but it's
yeah.
obviously your call.
Yeah, I'm just doing a quick kind of clicking through the PDF here to see if I can get anything about that, but I don't think I see anything here. Yeah, it just makes reference to the spells that cause blindness, and all it says is that it prevents attacking. I know that with paralyzed creatures, the assumption is that you just hit them. You never have to make an attack against a paralyzed creature, and I feel like we're at least halfway there. So I'm actually willing to say that if you'd like, you can just roll evens odds, and on evens, it's an automatic hit. On odds, you actually have to make a normal attack roll.
Okay, so I'll roll like a d4 for the even odds, and then I'll roll a d20 anyway, just in case, so we're not slow down too much.
Sure. And this will be for Nixell first.
I'm doing Torvin first because I
Torvin
have
first,
him
okay.
already. So it's the 3 on the evens odds, and it's a miss, I guess.
Yep, so Torvin still needs to swing and misses, but the thing is, Torvin actually gets a saving throw to see if he is no longer suffering from that debuff.
Okay.
Now, even if he succeeds, it won't affect the outcome of his attack. He'll still miss regardless, but bear in mind that you do have that he needs to resolve.
Yeah, that's no modifier. It's just straight save,
Yep,
right?
just rolling against. He needed a 16 or higher, I think. So no luck so far. But now we go over to Nixell. You may roll to see if you strike.
Okay, I'll do the same thing. I needed to roll, but I got a 9. Yeah, I guess a 20.
Yeah, it's not an automatic hit, but you still beat the armor class anyway, so you may roll damage.
D8. For 2.
2 damage, so it has a total of 8 damage on it at this point. Right. And I'm just gonna double check here. What do you have a strength modifier? Because it looks like that does apply to damage. You have a strength of +1 with your 13.
Yeah,
so
I had applied that to the attack roll, but not the damage. So
it looks like it
3.
does also apply to damage rolls.
Right,
so 3. So it has a total of 9 damage on it. We will go over to its turn. I'm gonna say that this is going to call for morale. So let's resolve that 2d6 to see if it breaks. A 5, I think it's going to maintain its composure pretty well. Yes, it does. So it maintains its composure, but it cannot attack. I will say then that it is going to disengage from you and is going to run shrieking back down the stairs towards the water. It is up to you guys if you want to give chase or not at this time.
Caltrops again?
Actually, you're right. I hadn't thought of that, but it's gonna have to make another caltrop save. Nice. So let's roll that. A 14, I think, makes it because it has a save of 12. So it will probably step across the caltrops and I mean its feet are so wrecked by something leprosy like. I'm guessing a caltrop is going to take a toe off or something like that, but it's not going to hamper its movement. So at this point, we can end combat rounds if you do not want to pursue with intent to continue killing it. What do you folks want to do?
So when it turns and flees, do we is it out of range immediately? Because there's something in the rules that says we get +2 bonus? Or
Yep,
is that
it's not going to do a fighting withdrawal. It just retreats.
Yeah, sorry, that's the rule in retreating.
Yes. So if you do pursue it, then you get a +2 bonus to attacks. It says this round. I'm just going to say on your next attack and the next round if you choose to do that.
I'd say it's worth it to pursue because it's gonna have a hard time getting into that boat and then getting that boat anywhere, even if it knows where it's going. It's totally blind.
Yeah.
So we might get a chance. I can't attack it because I would have to concentrate on the spell. But I'll encourage you to.
Can I check something first before we pursue it? We know the caltrops are there. Do we have to make a save if we pursue across the?
No, I'm willing to say that you can, jump over them or just kind of navigate past them, but I'm not worried too much about you getting caught up in your own caltrops if you're looking for them.
Because that would have been ironic.
Yeah. Oh, it would work on us for sure, but I imagine we can jump 5 feet.
Yeah. I was just double checking.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm willing to say that you can chase it down. It'll be down at the boat, and it'll probably stop there. I'm not going to make you do missile attacks against it unless you would like to, because you do get an extra +1 for doing a close range missile attack.
I mean, if I have the opportunity and I'm not losing anything by doing it,
Austin, you're going to do a missile attack anyway because that's how you operate. But Nixell, Lennart, and well, Lennart can't, but Torvin, I'll leave it to you.
I think we still have that odds and evens auto hit, right? So
you have that in your favor.
Follow up.
Okay.
With the melee attack. So
if you want, then a lot of you can proceed down the stairs chasing after it. I'll give everybody another round of attacks against it, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. So I'm rolling a d4 for the odds evens, and then a d20 and the d8 just in case.
Okay.
So it's a 2 on the d4, so it's an auto hit. And I got a 6 on the damage, +1 to 7.
Fabulous. So then I think it's an auto hit for both, right?
Sorry, I have to do Torvin's attack as well, separately. Which is -2. Yeah, okay. So, didn't get the auto hit. Got 16. Got 14 on the d20. -4 +2, so that's 16. So I think that's a hit.
Yes, if you're rolling a 16, then that is a hit. And you hit as well, Nixell, didn't you?
And that's 8 on Torvin's attack. So that is 15 total from the two of us.
Between the two of you, you hit for another 15 damage?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. So it originally had, as I recall, 9 + 15 damage is 24 damage on it total. Would Lennart and Austin like to take some swings?
No, because it will not be blind anymore if I do.
See, I rolled a
You
21.
Yeah, you hit. You don't even. I'm not even gonna say you need to roll the evens odds because that would have hit anyway.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay. Damage is 5.
5 more. It has 29 damage on it in total. And Lennart, you have your Warhammer.
Uh, yeah, light actually is concentration, a concentration spell, which means that I can't do anything significant. I think I can move to cast the spell, but if I attack or do any significant action, it breaks my concentration.
Oh, even after it's been blinded, you still have to kind of stay put to
Yeah,
maintain it. I did not know
it's
that. Okay.
it's got like a little C next to it. I think I don't have to stay put because it just says uh performing any other. Here's what it says. It just says performing any other action causes you to be distracted, but I don't know if we're counting movement as an action. But I would basically just be kind of following behind if I can move.
Yeah.
If I were to be a little nitpicky, is the concentration, I don't know, is the concentration to keep the light source lit and the blinding has already been done? Or is he only blinded as long as the light is active?
I think that's kind of up to GM Fiat. Honestly, I'm okay with you still going ahead and getting an attack off here. I think of it as a one-time light erupted into my eyes, and now I can't see anything for the next couple hours, as opposed to there is light emanating from my eyes constantly that prevents me from seeing.
Okay. If that will, yeah, if it'll stay blinded, I will absolutely trade for the attack. Worth it. I have this right here. My feeble blow. Wow. All right, that's a big
Goodness
hit for
gracious.
me.
This is
18. With my D6 -1. A 1.
1 damage. All right. So, um, rather than play this out blow by blow, um, I will say that you've dealt most of its hit points and damage to it. I don't think there's much likelihood of this thing successfully swimming across and maintaining a fortified position on the other side of the shore. If we would like to, I'm willing to just say that you're able to slay it here, and it's going to essentially assume a defensive, crouched, hissing, screeching position as you lay into it. Would that work for people, or is there some different way you'd like to go about handling this?
That works for me. They can't reasonably escape. I think that makes sense.
Is the lady across the lake just witnessing this?
She is in the exact, I mean, you can't see her from
Uh,
here, but Nixell, she is in the exact same statuesque position as before, just hand outstretched, book clutched to breast, veil covering her face, hood over. The rotting husks maintain their position of worship on the shore.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we finish this thing off, maybe the first thing to do is rescue those 3 unfortunates in the cages, and then maybe come back to clean up another day, you know?
I was thinking that for sure. Like, uh,
Oh, there we go. Let's see. Are you there, Brandon?
Yes. Sorry, my Zoom just closed for no reason. I was saying I agree with Donna that we should rescue those people.
Okay. Now, in order to do that, you will have to get into the rowboat and kind of row out to each of the cages individually. Do all four of you clamber in?
Yeah, can I take a turn to pick up my caltrops?
Yeah, you can take them up and put them back in your bag. That's probably smart.
Like playing jacks. Okay, I'm ready.
Maybe if you want to be picking up the couch, we can start getting the people. Because I imagine there's not enough room in the rowboat to get 3 people. Like we're gonna have to get one and come back, get one and come back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look here and see what the capacity for a canoe is. I wasn't expecting to look up the capacity of a water vessel for this adventure, but here we are.
Reasonably a normal sized canoe, like 3 people who are rowing. You could probably fit an extra person in there if you wanted to. But 5 is wild for a canoe.
That's probably quite a bit, yeah.
2 of us are small.
It has the cargo capacity, but I'm not seeing the and I see required crew of 0 for it, but no, I'm not seeing the number of people you can reasonably fit in it. I think that makes sense, though. You can maybe get 4 people into it. Halfling counts as half a person. So Austin, you will remain on shore while the rest of you go out and try to grab one of the captives.
Yeah, and then do like a ferry one over and collect the next one.
Sure. Now you'll get to the first one, and it is the sobbing, half-starved father of the Carnizzi sisters, if you remember them from last time. The cage is locked. You can either try to pick it, smash it. You don't have the key to it.
I'll smash it with my warhammer. Should work.
Sure. Let me see here. I don't see. See, this is one of those things where I'm sure there's a rule for it, but I'm not seeing it. Oh yeah, that's to open, right? Under exploration, if you have to open a door, it's like a 1 in 6 chance of smashing it, right?
Yeah, the open stack doors. Oh, I might have something that makes that a little bit better as well. I don't know if I can maybe use a tool to make it a little bit smarter than just smashing at it. I do have a mallet and some stakes, and if it's like a padlock type of thing, and it's like small enough, I could like wedge a stake into it and hammer it to try to like bust the lock rather than just smashing on it. If that gives me a better shot.
Yeah, let's up that to maybe a 2 in 6 chance, and
Okay.
if that doesn't work, then we'll say that you have to spend a turn kind of beating on it, but it'll eventually go through. So let's roll a d6 and aim for a 2 or less.
I started at 3 and 6 for.
You have a 3 and 6 for open. You can try it as well then, Nixell, because you have a better shot.
No, I can't get it.
So Nixell, you succeed on a 3. So this is kind of like a move over. Let me take a try at it. Boom with the dwarven hammer kind of moment. Yeah. So you're going to be able to open the padlock and get him out. And then I take it you return him to shore, where Austin's probably got his caltrops by now, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah, so deposit him on the shore, like sit him down, make sure he's not panicking or whatever, but then yeah, over to the second cage.
Okay. Austin, you have your caltrops, and he is deposited on the shore next to you. He is shivering, starving, and sobbing, but still You don't identify any obvious harm that's been done to him physically. He just seems to be emotionally and psychologically in a very bad place. Is there anything that you want to do as long as he's there, Austin?
Oh, I don't do well with emotions. I'm going to, I mean, if he's capable of speech, if I'm just sitting on here with shore with him, I would be curious to see what he remembers or if he knows what's happening here. I'll reassure him that, we're here to save you. Your daughters are looking for you.
He stammers out a series of thank yous. He says that this thing came and got him, and he describes the thing that you blinded and then killed. That's what was carrying him off here, and that he was shut up in the cage, and he's been starving and listening to this hypnotic dirge coming from the far shore for the last, at least the last day or so. Um, I mean, he doesn't know what's going on or why, but he just wants to get out.
Has he ever seen that lady move? Do the undead things ever move, or is it just that creature that keeps coming and going?
It's just the creature. The other things just sit there.
I want that book.
Meanwhile, Nixell and Lennart, you can row back out to get the next one. Let's see. Yeah, I'll let you both roll to see if you can smash the lock.
You first this time.
So 1 through 3. Nixell can't quite get this one. Lennart and Torben can take a shot at it too. Lennart, no luck.
Torvin will just be opening on a 1, right?
Yeah, no luck
No.
either way. So you'll have to spend a turn, kind of getting him out. But you manage to. So that is one more person that you've deposited. And the reason I'm doing all of this play by play is because passage of time does matter here. So I am paying attention to some things behind the scenes. The second person you get out is the headsman's father. He's been here for 2 days, you will recall. Austin, he is deposited on the shore next to you. Is this getting awkward for you?
Increasingly.
Yeah. We have, and then we go back to Nixell and Lennart. I'll let you folks take your tries at the third and final cage.
Nixell first. Nope.
Nope.
And then Torvin, the 1. Oh, yeah.
There you go, Torben coming in clutch. So Torben will break the lock, and you get the third and final captive out. And you row them back. So now we have the 4 of you back on shore plus 3 prisoners. Was the plan to get out of the dungeon and return them to safety and then come back later?
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think, yeah, it sounded like that was the plan. I will just say that in character, I do have an academic pull. I'm so curious about that book that she's holding. And I have a detrimental desire to go there, but not to the point where I'm going to like Gollum go against the group.
What do you think, Brandon?
I
Do we finish this once and for all now? Or do we save our hostages and come back tomorrow?
I think we can. I would vote for taking care of it now, because who knows if there could be another one of those things waiting for us. We should be able to kind of get another one of those guys. Something else bad. There might be some other plan that this person can get up to.
Yeah. How could we split the difference and tell Torvin to lead the hostages down the trail, and we'll catch up? And then the 3 of us cross in the canoe to take on this thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
you could do that. Mm-hmm.
It's so
Awesome.
dangerous and scary, but I'm down. Before they leave, can we ask the headmaster guy? Like, we never found out. There was some mystery as to what he was doing out in the woods at night that night.
Um,
He
right.
said his son said he thought he was picking turnips, which we have an expert here that says that's unlikely.
He tells you that he heard something in the woods and went out to investigate and was taken. He heard some kind of gibbering, some kind of whispering, um, and was ambushed and um subdued and taken up the trail.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Mystery solved.
Now, Torvin is more than happy to leave the dungeon. So he will take the three prisoners and withdraw from the dungeon with them. If the three of you want to sail up in the rowboat and see what you can do with the people or things rather left back on shore. I know Brandon keeps popping in and out, but I'll try to proceed because we're coming up towards the end of things here.
What do you think, Austin? You want to filch, or do we just smack these things over the head and
I don't know. The
keep the
undead
objects of
things,
interest after?
yeah. The undead things seemed kind of dumb. I don't know if they react as we approach the shore.
Um, you can sail up near the shore and see what they do. As you approach, you know, if you are not at the shore, they do nothing, is what I'm seeing here.
Okay. Then I imagine we'll proceed to the shore. Like we'll keep cautiously approaching until they start to stir.
Yeah, they will stir once you get pretty much up to the shore. There are three of them, and they are undead.
Well, the lady seems very unresponsive. So maybe we could have like if Leonard's able to turn the undead and then one of us like sprint up and grab the book while the others providing cover or is close behind or is like since I don't have any like particularly good thieving skills, maybe I'm better at providing cover with ranged weapon. I don't know, but that's a thought.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I would say like when we're not even on the shore yet, maybe I could like once they're kind of within the lantern light that we have, which I think I can't be holding because I have a shield and I'll need a hand free for my to like use my holy symbol and wiggle my hands. But yeah, I would like to turn them and make them hopefully maybe like flee into the water.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and have you make a turning roll.
Okay, let's see, 2d6, 7, which I don't remember if that's any good.
I'm trying to find the table here for how that works.
So I can turn with a 7 up to a 2 plus hit die monster, like a 2
Okay.
asterisk.
Each of them individually has one hit die. So does that mean you can turn two of them out of the three?
If they have one hit, so since I'm level 3, hit. So okay, hit type of monster type. Aha, I see. So I can turn 2 hit dice, I guess, worth of monsters automatically, I think is what it is. So I'd say one of them not turned, if I'm understanding correctly how this works. It's kind of like sleep, where you have a total number of hit dice that you can affect. Oh no, if it's used, yeah.
Well, oh no, I
and
see it.
it's not a mixed group.
I see it here on 30 on page 36 in the player's tome here. Your first roll determines the maximum number, like a type of hit dice you can turn. So for you, it's 2 asterisk. If the turning attempt succeeds, you roll 2d6 again to determine the number of hit dice affected. So roll 2d6
Thank you.
again.
I did
Yeah,
not
I see that here. It took me a minute.
Got it. I rolled, it's just taking a second, 9.
9. Okay, perfect. So in that case, you are able to repel all 3 of them. They cannot leave the area altogether, but they will retreat into a corner on the far side of the shore and adopt a cowering sort of posture. So they are dealt with. The woman on the shore remains frozen in position.
Following where her gaze would be. Well, have we even gotten close? Can we see her face? You said it was covered in a hood.
It's covered by a veil, yes.
I just have the worst curiosity. I'd like to approach her cautiously. And can I peek up under the veil from my, if I'm like standing toe to toe to her?
You certainly can. That is an option you can take.
Okay.
Do you do that?
Oh yeah.
Very good. I'm going to need a save versus spells from you with a -2 penalty. So just roll 1d20, compare it to your spells save, which is a 12, and take a -2. You need to roll a total 12 or higher.
Easy.
So 1d20 -2.
Easy. That's an easy 4.
Ooh, okay. So, this is not something that we need to do a lot of rolling to take care of because Lennart and Nixell are able to intercept you and prevent any harm from coming to you. But I will just describe what it says here. Let's see here. Raising the shroud reveals a small hollow space containing a hole into an infinitely reflective abyss. Save versus spells or experience overwhelming, painful memories. Affected characters try to drown themselves in the Black Lake to appease the god thing. Let me double check lines and veils here to ensure that that works for people. This counts as an attempted suicide. Is that okay with folks for purposes of safety tools? I'm getting a thumbs up from everyone. Okay. So
I'm just splashed with being fired from the university all over again.
Yeah, I mean, you essentially are scarred for life. I mean, maybe not for life, but you get this tremendously painful flashback to the worst thing that's ever happened to you. And I'll say that you basically come to as Nixell and Lennart are sort of like holding you back, if that works for everybody. Okay, but the woman otherwise does not move. She remains frozen, and were it not for the apparent clamminess of her skin, you wouldn't even be sure that she's alive.
So was that wasn't because Austin approached her? It was because he like looked beyond the veil.
He did one of these. Yeah.
So I think we can deal with this the old-fashioned way. Maybe. What does our turnip warden think?
Maybe it does. Maybe we should inspect the shrine first and just see, like, is there anything that will tell us? Otherwise, yeah, maybe, like, or is it to try to take the book first because she can't read the book She doesn't have the book.
I'll leave it
So,
up to
yeah,
you folks to
that's what I would.
determine.
That
That's-
makes sense
sounds
to
good
me.
to me.
I have one other wild suggestion.
Sure.
I wonder what would happen if you were to lift the veil without looking and hold a mirror to it.
Yeah.
I have a small steel mirror. Or you have some mirror shards, I think, right?
I don't think I ended up taking them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have a steel mirror.
Steel mirror. Just
What
for
happens?
this
What happens
situation.
when the void looks into itself?
The universe explodes. This existential angst.
It does feel like atom bomb style. I don't know. It just feels like a bad idea, which is why I'm so interested.
I love it. I think it's an amazing idea. I would love to check the shrine first before we do that.
Before we hit the
I
nuclear
agree.
button.
Before we hit the big red button.
Let's just take a look at what we're destroying, right? Like,
yeah, so I mean the shrine itself, Lennart, is but by now you've determined that it is a idol in the image of the withering, pathetic god thing. And it looks just like the woman standing there next to you. You actually kind of put two and two together and realize that what you are standing next to on the shore is probably a failed god. I mean, you've heard the stories, you did never expect to see the thing in person. But what you have before you is basically something or someone that at one point made an attempt towards godhood, failed miserably, and has now sort of entombed itself here, having invested virtually all of its power into a thing that you blinded and killed a minute ago, and now waits helplessly for the end.
Okay, let's yeah. So do we want to do the mirror thing? I'll hold the mirror and somebody else standing behind, kind of like we'll all stand to the side. Somebody will lift it.
can we look at the book too first, maybe?
Uh, yeah, it's a good idea.
Or are we able to
Do you
get
want
it
to try
out of
and
her
take the
grasp?
book? I,
Do you want to reach up and try to take the book?
Yeah, I do.
She makes no attempt to hold the book back from you. You think maybe that you hear a whisper of no, please, somewhere in the back of your mind as you take it, but it was so soft, it was probably just a trick of the um um the
Mind.
yeah, trick of, I wasn't gonna say trick of the light, but probably just some kind of audible illusion. But you have the book. It is wrapped in human flesh. That is
I
the
take I look at it, I'm like, how did she get a copy of my textbook? Only 4 copies sold. Okay. Okay, yeah, I don't like fleshy tomes. I'm not opening that here. I'm scared to open it, but I have it. I show you guys.
you can put that in your inventory. One piece of loot from the adventure. Nixell, were you going to do something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined towards the helpless god thing decapitation approach rather than the risk the entire universe with the mirrored red button approach. But I mean, if both of my esteemed colleagues think we should definitely go with the mirror, I mean, we have like 5 minutes left or whatever, so why not?
I'm just so curious. I mean, she's always wearing the mirror facing out from her face. It's like this lady who's like, assuming it's the same one from all the depictions. She
Yes.
just has this reflective face reflecting back whoever's looking at her. It's like, I just want to take a good hard look at herself. Although I'm starting to feel bad for her, like maybe she's a victim in this, but based on what I'm assuming Lennart is sharing with us, it was just someone who reached for the stars and fell back to the ground.
Whatever you choose to do, this will be the last thing that we do before we close the adventure round, because this is pretty much it.
Oh, let's do the mirror.
Yeah,
It's a cool idea.
I think that decapitation's wiser. Let's do the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, maybe when things start to go horribly wrong with the mirror approach, I'll do a probably too late decapitation strike anyway. But you know,
you're just hovering behind her with the axe while we
Nixell will be the
while
second.
we mess around and find out.
Yeah.
But Lennart likes the wisdom of inverting the effect and giving it a taste of its own power, and like, so yeah, he'll hold up the mirror and wait for the veil to be lifted.
All right.
And it's like, it's a small steel mirror, probably like not like a signal mirror basically.
So Lennart, you hold the mirror. Austin, you withdraw the veil, and Nixell, you stand behind with your weapon at the ready.
Yeah.
Not to drag things down, but I am curious. How does a halfling lift the veil? Am I on her shoulders?
You're stepping on several heavy textbooks to get up there.
Okay, yeah, I pile some stuff up and the rowboat's upside down. Okay.
Get up there. Yeah. Okay. Well then, what I'll say to close things out is that you withdraw the veil, and with everyone averting your eyes, you can't actually see quite what her face looks like. But Nixell, you viewing from behind, Austin and Lennart probably averting their gaze. Nixell, you see the woman take a step back toward you, almost bumping into you. While she was quiet and sad before, now she issues a pained scream of defeat, and you see her from the back take her hands, put them up kind of into whatever this abyss was, and pull as her head essentially explodes. And she falls pitifully to the ground, dead and never to be heard from again. None of you will ever know what she saw. And how's that for a note to end on, folks?
As it probably should be.
Yeah.
All right, fabulous. In that case, I will stop the recording here. Everybody is able to make it back to town safely, with the 3 hostages having been delivered by Torvin. Well done, everybody. We'll do stars and wishes on the other side.